Okay, so we love diving into listener suggestions.
Yeah.
And you sent over this
Yeah.
P. Flyadog dude. I'm Pi Anatonkade by S. Tamarai Selvin.
Right.
Really interesting book, focusing on the Hindu wedding ceremony, specifically from a Tamil perspective,
Right.
which is something we haven't really gotten into before.
Not really.
But this will be fun. We want to understand the rituals and the ideas behind them.
Right.
Sort of unpack it all.
Yeah, it covers, it's a big topic.
Yeah.
From pre-wedding customs to the ceremony itself to like the importance of family afterward.
Right. Yeah.
And like what I found super interesting was how it looked at the challenges
Yeah.
that modern Tamil people face.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
trying to balance their own traditions with like Western culture.
Right.
And then also, the big questions that come up about whether marriage is even still relevant.
Right. Yeah. So it's not just describing the rituals, it's also like putting them in the context
Totally.
today.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
maybe first and foremost,
Yeah.
what does this text say that marriage is?
Okay, so it's definitely not just like a basic agreement.
Yeah.
It describes marriage or kalyanam as way more than just a contract between two people.
Yeah.
Like it's more like an induction course,
Okay.
into family life.
I see.
And the rituals, they act as like symbolic lessons,
Okay.
illustrating the duties and the rights
Right.
that come with this new phase of life.
Okay.
And the word kalyanam itself
Yeah.
actually means complete auspiciousness. So it marks the very beginning of this family life
Yeah.
that's supposed to grow virtue across generations.
Okay. So it's the foundation of something
Totally.
much bigger.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not just about the couple like finding happiness.
Not just that.
Okay.
The text actually connects marriage to like these core Hindu concepts. Dharma, which is righteous duty.
Right.
Artha, which is wealth and prosperity.
Okay.
Kama, which is pleasure and desire.
Yeah.
And moksha, which is liberation.
Right. So it's hitching on all these different
All of them.
aspects of life.
Not just personal fulfillment or like attraction.
Right.
It's seen as this path that touches upon all these broader life goals
I see.
and societal responsibilities.
Okay, so that kind of leads us into like the role of society in this.
Yeah.
Because the book makes it clear that
Yeah.
marriage isn't just this private matter between two people.
Totally. It's a key point
Yeah.
is that marriage has this huge social aspect to it.
Right.
So society offers recognition
Okay.
and, importantly, protection to the married couple.
Right.
But this also means
Yeah.
that there are societal expectations and duties
Yeah.
that come with being married.
It's a two-way street.
Yeah, exactly.
You get the benefits, but you also
totally
have the
dude.
responsibilities.
It's reciprocal, yeah.
And this ties into those traditional
Yeah.
stages of life in Hinduism.
Right, the 4 ashramas.
Right.
So you've got Brahmacharyam, which is the celibacy and student life.
Yeah.
Then Ilaram, which is the family life or the householder stage.
Right.
Sannyasam, which is renunciation.
Yeah.
And Vanapraftam, which is retirement to the forest.
Right.
And the book really stresses the importance
Yeah.
of Ilaram, the family life.
Right.
It argues that it's like the base of society,
Oh.
providing support,
Yeah.
sustenance for those other stages.
Right.
So you see this interconnectedness
Yeah.
across all these societal roles.
So family life isn't just about the family. It's about the whole society benefits from it.
I see.
It's essential.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the importance of family and having children is also kind of brought up through the
Yeah.
concept of Rana,
Right.
which are like those debts,
Debts or obligations.
that you have to your ancestors, to the deities, to society.
Mhm.
See, exactly.
Yeah.
And entering family life,
Yeah.
raising kids is seen as a way to fulfill those obligations
Right.
and uphold Dharma.
So it's all about
Yeah,
contributing to something larger.
exactly. It reinforces that idea
Yeah.
that marriage is
Yeah.
about this larger order.
Yeah. Okay. So we've talked about what marriage is broadly. But the book also goes into these different types of marriage,
Yeah.
which I don't think we talk about a lot
No,
in just everyday conversations about Hindu weddings.
not so much.
So what are we?
So there's 8 different types
Okay.
recognized in the scriptures,
Wow.
and even as like classical Tamil grammar texts.
Interesting.
So you see this historical acceptance
Yeah.
of all these different ways that unions could be formed.
Okay.
And while we don't have time to go through all 8,
Right.
it just shows you that there was this broader perspective on marriage throughout history.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is, even though there were all these different forms, society still kind of expected them to be formalized.
I see.
Through ceremonies.
So even love marriages.
Had
to go through that whole process.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting. And those love marriages are actually one of the...
Oh, yeah.
One of the 8 types.
Gandharva Vivaham.
Right.
It's recognized.
Yeah.
But even when it's based on love, the book still says there's this expectation of family approval and proper ceremonies, like the author says.
Yeah.
The rituals actually serve a really important purpose.
Okay.
Like to build understanding affection between the couple by preparing them for married life.
Yeah.
Explaining the philosophy behind it all.
So it's not
solidifying that connection.
Just about the initial attraction. It's about building that foundation.
It's the whole package.
To make it last.
Yeah.
So we've talked about like what marriage is and the different forms it can take.
Right.
But what about actually finding a partner?
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
What does the book?
Well, it's definitely not like Kinder.
Right.
The text talks about how important it was for the groom's family to really understand their own family traits.
Okay.
Their lineage. Like that was key.
Okay.
For finding a bride who would fit in well.
Right. So it's about ensuring compatibility.
Totally. Like a fundamental level.
Yeah, at the deepest level.
Yeah.
Deep compatibility.
And it talks about how different professions might want different qualities in a spouse.
Right. Like a farmer's wife needs different strengths than politician's wife.
Yeah.
Like resilience and community versus hospitality and diplomacy.
Right.
So it's about finding a partner whose strengths complement the whole family.
The whole unit.
The whole unit, yeah.
And speaking of modern times,
the
book is not a fan of marriage advertisements.
It's a little critical.
Is it? Yeah, it says that a lot of them focus on superficial stuff, physical appearance, rather than the deeper virtues and character traits that are actually vital for a good marriage.
I see.
So the author really encourages families to pinpoint their core values and look for someone who embodies those for like long-term harmony.
So inner qualities over outer.
Totally. It's all about the inside.
Okay, so now let's talk about horoscope matching.
Jathaka Parutham.
Jathaka Parutham.
Yeah.
Which we all kind of associate with Hindu weddings.
Big part of it.
So what does the book...
What's its take?
Yeah, what's its take on it?
Well, it's kind of balanced.
Okay.
Like it acknowledges that it's super common.
Yeah.
But it also says that it's become kind of self-serving.
Okay.
Like turning a statistical tool into superstition.
I see.
The author thinks it was supposed to be like a guide.
Yeah.
Not a deciding factor.
Right.
Not the end-all be-all.
And the book actually suggests that it can be used as a polite way to decline a proposal.
Like a polite out.
So if you don't want to directly criticize someone, you can just say,
horoscopes don't match.
Right. Exactly.
So clever.
Yeah.
But it also explains why horoscopes were checked in the first place.
Yeah, like it wasn't just random.
It wasn't just some arbitrary thing.
No Jyotism or astrology. It's actually described as a prediction science based on statistics and probability.
Okay.
And it was always being refined.
So they were really
trying to figure things out.
They were trying to figure it out.
Yeah, and it goes through those 10 aspects that they would check.
Like Dana Parutham.
Right, Dana Parutham.
That was about longevity and health.
Right.
But the book's like, well, now we could just look at family medical history.
Right. That makes more sense.
Yeah, way more direct.
Than Gana Parutham.
Gana Parutham.
Temperament.
And
it had those categories.
Divine, human, demonic.
Yeah.
But now we have psychology.
We have a much more nuanced understanding.
Way more nuanced.
A personality.
Yeah.
So we don't need these broad categories.
We've moved on.
Right, and it goes on to talk about...
all sorts of things.
Children.
Mahendra Parutham.
Right.
Mahendra Parutham.
Yeah, that was about kids.
Right.
Which now we can assess medically.
We can Sridharam.
Sridharam. That's a big one.
Yeah. The well-being and rights of the woman.
Yeah, so important.
Which obviously is...
huge.
Still important.
It's huge.
Yeah,
and we approach that now through psychology.
And a social understanding of relationships.
Exactly.
Right, so it's taking those traditional concerns and applying them to a modern understanding.
Turning them into the present.
Even physical compatibility.
Yoni Parutham.
Yeah,
that was about making sure things worked in the bedroom. Right, and the book says that now.
Now we have medical tests.
Medical tests and open communication.
Yeah, just talk about it.
Are much easier.
Much easier.
Yeah.
And there's Rasi Purutham.
Rasi Purutham, yeah. That was about...
avoiding hardship at the same time.
Simultaneous hardship.
Yeah.
Which now we can look at in terms of resilience.
And how you cope with things.
Exactly. Yeah, you're going to crumble together.
Right. Or
lift each other up.
Able to help each other.
Yeah.
And Rasi Ethipathia Purutham.
That one's about compatibility.
Yeah, of family traditions and approaches.
Yeah, like do your families basically agree?
On how to live.
On how to live, yeah.
And Visya Purutham.
Visya Purutham, that's just the basic attraction.
The chemistry.
Chemistry, yeah.
Raju Purutham.
Raju Purutham, that was about...
potential suffering.
Different kinds of suffering.
Yeah, if the couple got together.
Like financial ruin or even death.
Wow.
So they were trying to pair people.
To avoid those things.
Yeah.
With complementary strengths.
Right.
Not similar weaknesses.
I see.
And then the last one.
Yeah.
Veda Purutham.
Veda Purutham.
That was about...
checking for...
totally incompatible habits.
Like
if one person's an alcoholic...
and the other one...
and the other one is totally against it...
that's not going to work.
Not going to work.
So basically...
yeah.
all these things they were checking for...
yeah.
we have more direct ways of figuring out...
we've got science now.
We do.
So the book is saying...
if you still want to check for compatibility...
yeah.
use modern methods.
Use psychology.
Yeah.
Use medicine.
Exactly.
Don't just blindly follow.
Don't blindly follow.
These old traditions.
Because that's how you get superstition.
Right.
And progress comes from
yeah.
adapting our knowledge.
Right.
It's about growth.
And the book says
that does
that a lot of people nowadays,
yeah.
when they're doing this horoscope matching,
they're driven by anxiety.
Not a genuine desire to see if they're compatible. Yeah. They're scared.
They're scared of making the wrong choice.
They're scared of messing up.
So after all of that, the family considerations and the horoscopes,
right.
there's the bride seeing
Pen
Parthol.
Yeah.
What's that all about?
Okay, so this happens after the initial checks on family background and stuff. Right. And it's supposed to be this relaxed introduction.
Okay.
Ideally at the woman's home.
Right.
Like making her feel comfortable.
So it's not an interview?
No, not at all.
Or like a test?
No, they used to offer hospitality.
Right.
Sing songs.
To put her at ease.
To make her feel good.
Right.
Not to judge her skills.
Right.
The goal is just to introduce everyone.
Right. And
the book says, don't use this time to criticize.
Yeah.
Like there's another time for that.
The nitty-gritty.
For all the details, yeah.
And ideally, this should only happen...
ideally.
if both people have already agreed.
If they're both interested.
They're both interested.
Right.
Okay, so we've gone through this whole process.
The whole thing.
Of like figuring out, is marriage right for you?
Right.
Finding a partner.
Yeah.
Now we get to the actual wedding.
The big day.
The Thirumana-Curia.
And there are a lot.
27.
27.
Yeah.
So... we obviously don't have time.
We can't go through all of them.
To go through every single one.
No.
But maybe just some of the key ones.
The highlights.
So like Nichayathartham.
The engagement.
The engagement.
Yeah, that's a big one.
What happens there?
Okay, so it's all about formally introducing the bride and groom to each other's families and the community.
Right.
Like making it public.
It's the announcement.
It's the announcement. We're getting married.
And the families can
meet.
Start to get to know each other.
Yeah.
And traditionally, it's at the bride's home.
Traditionally, yeah.
With her family hosting.
Okay.
And there's a formal promise of marriage.
Right.
Sometimes even a written agreement.
Wow.
And in the Prachapya Vivaham.
Yeah,
that's one of the marriage types.
Right.
The bride actually gets gifts and is taken to the groom's house.
At the engagement.
Because the wedding's there.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
And historically,
the
groom's family would give gifts to the bride's family.
As a sign of commitment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then there's
Parasampadathal.
Which is the bride wealth.
Bride wealth.
Okay, what's that about?
So the book says that's a later custom.
Okay.
Like it came after the engagement.
Okay.
But it's basically this concrete agreement.
Yeah.
Made in front of everyone.
Okay.
To really reinforce that commitment.
So you're not backing out?
No, backing out.
Okay.
And nowadays, it usually happens.
Yeah.
Closer to the wedding.
Okay.
Sometimes even like a day or two before the engagement.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So things have
shifted.
Shifted around.
Yeah.
And this is where the fathers of the bride and groom.
Yeah, they confirm their lineages.
Yeah.
Exchange beetle leaves.
Right.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then there's Nalangu Sethal.
Nalangu Sethal.
The anointing ceremony.
The anointing.
Which sounds really...
it's very personal.
Personal.
Yeah.
What happens there?
Okay, so the bride and groom, they have separate ceremonies.
Okay.
At their maternal relatives' homes.
Okay.
And they're anointed with sandalwood.
Yeah.
Kumkum.
Okay.
Fragrant substances.
Right.
Then they take a ritual bath.
Okay.
And get gifts.
From their maternal relatives.
From their maternal relatives, yeah.
So this really highlights the importance of the maternal side.
Yeah, and Tamil culture.
For Tamil culture.
The maternal uncle is a big deal.
Yeah. And this is also when...
Yeah, this is when...
They get advice.
The uncle and aunt.
Yeah.
They share all this advice.
About life.
About life, yeah.
And marriage.
How to make it work.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we have the Thali Thal.
Pothanuruka.
Pothanuruka.
Yeah.
The making of the Thali.
The most important symbol.
It is the symbol of marriage.
Of the marriage.
And what does the book say about that?
Okay, so the Thali.
Yeah.
It's the central symbol of the bond.
Right.
And it's traditionally made by the groom's family.
Okay.
Like symbolizing the bride's acceptance.
Into their family.
Into their family, into their lineage.
I see.
And later on, the book actually talks about the qualities of the Thali maker. Like they should have all their limbs and be right-handed.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's like...
There's a lot of symbolism
super symbolic.
Packed into that.
Yeah.
Wow. This has been a really...
It's fascinating.
Fascinating look at the Hindu wedding ceremony.
Yeah.
And all the thought that goes into it.
So much philosophy underlying it all.
So to kind of sum up, what does the book say?
Okay, so it says that Hindu marriage is this rich and multifaceted tradition.
Yeah.
The rituals aren't random.
Right.
They're meant to guide people into family life.
Yeah.
Emphasizing their roles.
In society.
In society, yeah.
And the book also talks about that historical importance.
Of compatibility.
Yeah.
Traditionally through horoscopes.
Right.
But now we can use modern methods too.
Right. So it's not saying throw away the old ways.
Yeah. It's saying incorporate the new.
Find a balance.
Find a balance, yeah.
And family ties.
Yeah.
Lineage.
Yeah.
All of that's really central.
Super central.
To the whole idea.
Yeah.
And the book really stresses.
It does.
That we need to understand the meaning behind these traditions.
The why behind the what.
The why behind the what.
Yeah.
It's not just about...
Not just blindly following.
Blindly doing them. It's about understanding why they're done.
Exactly.
And finding that meaning in our modern lives.
Yeah, like the rituals can still be important if we get their original purpose.
Right.
And how they can apply today.
It's all about adaptation.
It's about evolution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for you listening, we've talked about all these different aspects of Hindu marriage.
Tradition and modernity.
Yeah.
Ancient wisdom.
Yeah.
And modern science.
Yeah.
What do you think?
What do you think is the most important thing when you're looking for a life partner?
What matters most today?
Something to think about.
Food for thought.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for listening.